1. Wisdom and knowledge. The only real wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Wise men speak because they have something to say. Fools because they have to say something. Ignorance, the root and stem of all evil. Opinion is the medium between knowledge and ignorance. Knowledge, which is acquired under compulsion, obtains no hold on the mind. Thinking, the talking of the soul with itself. The learning and knowledge that we have is, at the most, but little compared with that of which we are ignorant. A good decision is based on knowledge and not on numbers. No one is more hated than he who speaks the truth. The beginning is the most important part of the work. 2. Virtue and morality. The measure of a man is what he does with power. Good people do not need laws to tell them to act responsibly. No evil can happen to a good man, either in life or after death. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. Virtue is not given by money, but money by virtue. The first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. The worst of all deceptions is self-deception. He who commits injustice is ever made more wretched than he who suffers it. The greatest penalty of evildoing is to grow into the likeness of bad men. 3. Love and relationships. At the touch of love, everyone becomes a poet. Love is a serious mental disease. Every heart sings a song incomplete until another heart whispers back. Friends have all things in common. The hottest love has the coldest end. By all means, marry. If you get a good wife, you'll become happy. If you get a bad one, you'll become a philosopher. Love is born into every human being. It calls back the halves of our original nature together. There is no such thing as a lover's oath. Beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. The madness of love is the greatest of heaven's blessings. 4. Courage and strength. Courage is knowing what not to fear. We can easily forgive a child who is afraid of the dark. The real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. Do not train a child to learn by force or harshness, but direct them to it by what amuses their minds. The man who makes everything that leads to happiness depend upon himself and not upon other men has adopted the very best plan for living happily. Courage is a kind of salvation. The greatest victory is over yourself. Never discourage anyone who continually makes progress, no matter how slow. The most virtuous are those who content themselves with being virtuous without seeking to appear so. There are two things a person should never be angry at: what they can help and what they cannot. Happiness springs from doing good and helping others. 5. Truth and education. False words are not only evil in themselves, but they infect the soul with evil. Truth is the beginning of every good thing, both in heaven and on earth. Honesty is for the most part less profitable than dishonesty. The empty vessel makes the loudest sound. He who steals a little steals with the same wish as he who steals much, but with less power. The greatest test of a man's character is what it takes to stop him. The direction in which education starts a man will determine his future life. The most important part of education is proper training in the nursery. The object of education is to teach us to love what is beautiful. The most effective kind of education is that a child should play amongst lovely things. 6. Leadership and society. One of the penalties for refusing to participate in politics is that you end up being governed by your inferiors. The price good men pay for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. Those who are too smart to engage in politics are punished by being governed by those who are dumber. The greatest punishment for a man who refuses to rule is to be ruled by someone worse than himself. Laws are made to instruct the good and in the hope that there may be no need of them. The heaviest penalty for declining to rule is to be ruled by someone inferior to yourself. Dictatorship naturally arises out of democracy. Necessity is the mother of invention. The people have always some champion whom they set over them and nurse into greatness. States are as the men are. They grow out of human characters. 7. Death and the afterlife. Death is not the worst that can happen to men. The greatest blessing granted to mankind comes by way of madness, which is a divine gift. The soul is the prisoner of the body. The soul is the divine part of man. The soul is the only thing that is truly ours. The soul is the only thing that is truly immortal. The soul is immortal, and it is reborn in many forms. The soul takes nothing with her to the next world but her education and her culture. Astronomy compels the soul to look upwards and leads us from this world to another. Music is a moral law. It gives soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination.